I mean, it's cool, but you got to be careful of listening to outside noise too. There's just so much information out there. There's so many different opinions, and people bringing up certain issues with players that may or not be true.
It is that time, everybody. Each and every week, we come out here, do the show live from the Virginia Mason Athletic Center, and we're joined by the president of football operations and general manager of your Seattle Seahawks, John Schneider, joining us for the aptly named John Schneider Show. How are you, man?
Good. How you guys doing?
What the heck are you drinking there? What is that? It looks like
yeah.
it's
So
good for you.
6.5 hour flight last night. So yeah, some vitamin C, some
it's just a very
some greens,
dark green.
Some electrolytes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Long flight.
You know when it's that color, it's got to be healthy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Looks terrible.
It's definitely not green beer, I promise. Yeah.
So what? The countdown is on. We are about 3 weeks from opening night of the draft, and you'll be with us that on that night. But
which is going to be an exciting show.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
You're going to tell us who you're going to pick, obviously.
There'll be some sort of hint, right? We did it. Yeah.
You said you gave us.
I forget it last year. I don't think so. I don't think so.
If you did, it was the most vague hint ever.
We missed it, which shouldn't shock you, but it went right over our head.
Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short, Judge.
What's how many versions of your
mock drafts
of your draft board of your going in? Here's our top 10 players. How often? How many times does that change up to draft?
Yeah. So this weekend, starting tomorrow, we'll go 1 through 3. Back across we've been 4 through 7 now with the guys that are here. So Nolan, Matt Berry, Trent Kirshner, Willie, anybody that's in the office, the guys are out scouting, doing their things, kind of getting all the pro day info, spending more time with the players and everything. So this is basically our third swipe through it. And we basically go 4th round down and just kind of we're just almost like we don't really have a starting point. Let's just start with these guys. We don't know anything about them. Let's let it rip. And then we just go through it like that. So before the owners meeting, we got through, 4 through 7. Now we'll go 1 through 3. And, it'll take us into Sunday evening. And probably should be able to get through that, but that's 3. And then, 4 will be when the scouts come back in. 5 would be, with the coaches. And then 6 would be just Mike and myself.
Yeah, you're vaguely aware that there are mock drafts, right? That everybody has.
Yeah.
And they change.
You've heard of those?
Things like that. But every once in a while.
5.7. Mock draft 5.7? No, I'm kidding. That they say mock draft. I don't know if you.
Yeah, 2.0.
Oh,
yeah,
2.0.
2.0.
Yeah. But for you guys, what would make a guy drop? Or rise up? Because I was listening at the kid McMillan, the receiver from Arizona. I think he made some comment that I don't watch football or something like that. I mean, and I don't know if that dropped him or whatever, but it was just something that, happens in between now and the draft. What would be for you? What would be something that would make either a guy? Yeah,
you have to be careful over-evaluating, especially at this time of the year.
Overthinking it.
We have so much information now, but what would make a guy drop is a medical off the field, some sort of off the field issue that we're not quite settled on. Guys, any interviews, Zoom interviews that our coaches are doing with players now or with the scouts still that. There's just something that might be a little off that we're not totally comfortable with, that we need to spend even more time with that player, with that prospect. Really, the 40 times and all that kind of stuff that there's been so much more information now with all the GPS tracking that, it's really more of a tell on, preparation and how important it is to the skill players than it is, just flat out time. Okay, because you can see these guys running I was almost going to mention names again, but you can see this guy ran such and such, but we have GPS times of him with helmet, and shoulder pads, and football in his hands running 21.7 miles an hour or 20 miles an hour, and so. and all, Patrick and his group do a great job of, okay, like these are the top 3, and this is what the category where he was running, and so there's just so much information. I would say at this time of the year, you just have to be very careful to over evaluate the player, and there's also a lot of information. In right, wrong, or different, it's awesome because it's entertainment. But there's just so much. I mean, it's cool, but you got to be careful of listening to outside noise too. There's just so much information out there. There's so many different opinions, and people bringing up certain issues with players that may or not be true.
Well, and you just hit on what I was going to ask you, and that's how much stock do you put into what you hear about? Well, we heard an anonymous GM say this guy didn't interview well, or this guy said this, or this guy, it gets floated out there because maybe that team doesn't want anybody to pick them, so they float. You would certainly never do anything like that.
No.
But do you have your guys that you trust? Like, all right, if this guy says it, I believe it, or if this guy says it, I believe it. Versus anonymous GM says this guy didn't interview well. Do you
well, there's depending on who puts it out there, sure, but it's an alert for us to say, okay, well, let's go back because we had a great interview with the player, so let's go back and interview them again. Let's spend more time with them. Let's have our coaches spend more time with them. It's just more of an alert than it is like, okay, well, we're just gonna listen to that and blow the player off because of it.
Have you ever floated anything out there to dissuade another team from picking a guy you wanted?
No, we did have Kajana Carter in our room when I was at the Packers, though, and he had to get to this dinner, and he was late, but he wasn't done filling out our interview sheet. We're like, hey, buddy, sorry, you can't fill this out, otherwise our boss is going to be on us, man. We he's like, well, you guys are picking 24, like. What are we doing here? Come on,
you
and
got
we're
no shot at me.
And we're like, yeah, but nobody knows that you have a cocaine issue yet, And he's like, you guys are jacked up, man. You guys I'm out of here. You guys are crazy. We're just messing with him.
Right.
But he's a great person. Was able to spend time with him. We were at the Redskins. He came back, but no, not floating stuff out there like bad like that. But it's fun being down at the owners' meeting and like hanging out with, your contemporaries and people you trust and people you don't really know that well, and being like, seeing what I'm fishing for, what they're fishing for. Kind of, laying the groundwork.
Right. Are you pretty familiar with, I'm sure you know some guys way better than others, but as far as all the GMs, are you pretty connected with all of them?
I made an effort. I made an effort with some of the younger guys, especially this last time that I don't know real well. Sat down, had a cup of coffee with the new GM with Jacksonville. I didn't know him, so wanted to. He was just sitting there by himself having a coffee. So Tracy and I sat down and got to know him a little bit and talked to him. And some of the other guys that are, first, second, third year that I'm just not, you just want to get to know them. And so when you're talking to them, you have a feel for what's shaking.
Yeah. So what goes on at the owners' meetings? What's the agenda for you out there?
Yeah. It's, the first day is basically like a recap of some of the committees that, I'm on, that we attend during the first 2 days of the combine. So that part's pretty repetitive, but the main one with the owners is and the head coaches is pretty fun. It's pretty intense this year with the Tush push, and we tabled Detroit and Green Bay's proposals that would take away the Tush push, and then the other one was just have like the seating.
Tell me you're not one of the 16 in support of that.
No. I was actually. It was funny. I don't get up and speak at these things, and it was kind of quiet. And it was like, anybody want to talk on this? And I was like, yes, I'm all about this. Like I'm very passionate about it because it's such a fan thing for me, because only one team wins the Super Bowl, right? But like you win a division, and like whether you're 7-9, which happened to us, right? But like it's a big deal, and I was all confident, and I got up there, and I also like the commissioner's looking right at me, and Jerry Jones is looking right at me, and Jody's sitting right in front of me, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. Yeah, like here comes the panic moment.
Wait, you guys are listening to me?
Mom, help! Yeah, no. So no, I'm just passionate about it, and was able to talk on
on
the
the Tush push you're talking about?
No, the seating in Detroit.
That's what I was talking about. Tell me you're not one of the 16 that's supporting banning the Tush push.
No, we did not support that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very soft mentality because there's nothing there. There's no
I'm with
injury,
you.
there's nothing.
I'm with you. But the more people present on the medical side of it, it's there's some things in there that are pretty vague. So that's why it was tabled.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no
Right.
As far as we've seen, there's no numbers attached to
Right.
all of these injuries coming as a result
Right.
of this play versus a ball being run up the
Yeah.
middle by a running back.
Right.
Well, how is this more dangerous?
Yeah, it was great, and it was fun sitting with Jody because it's not as clear as the hip drop has been. So last year they're going through the hip drop stuff, and the videos are awful. I know it's a hard play to tackle and there was only one penalty. Before he comes across the table, right? Like, whoa, slow down there, big fella. But it's the medical portion wasn't as clear on this, and with Jody sitting there and watching the videos of the guys looks like they're going to break their ankle, right, and falling on the back of their legs and everything, compared to this, but the discussion was pretty intense, so it's fun. She's like, "Well, how's this going to go? What do you think?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I think it's going to be really tight, right?" And then, just listening to other people, there was a lot of really interesting opinions both ways. So then after that meeting, there's owners one-on-one, right? So then after that, we're pretty much they kind of kick the common folk out,
The common unwashed, get out of here.
Yeah, beat it. Yeah. So, but not a bad place that should be kicked out of for the afternoon, right? So yeah, we all. But that's when you kind of go sit down with some of your friends and contemporaries and talk about different scenarios and where they're at in the draft or who they may be trying to move, and that's the most fun part of it.
Have you heard from Mike about what he would do to stop the tush push? I mean, because that's the next thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's very innovative. It's cool. You got the advantage of the snap count, but what kind of things are that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Is how do they defend it?
Yeah, well, Pete brought in the rugby. I'm sorry, I apologize. I can't remember the rugby coach's name right now, but our rugby coach. He came in and spent time with our staff here, and these guys are always trying to figure out, okay, what are the angles, how low can you get, all that kind of stuff, and that's one of the arguments. Hey, this is just a rugby play, and so it goes back and forth, right? So, but yeah, people are always trying to figure that out. Some people are. Green Bay actually, has the proposal, and their tight end was very successful at it. And they brought their tight end in, and they ran it, and they did a nice job.
Yeah, and then in reading the article, there were two teams that ran it more than 5 times: the Eagles and the Bills.
Yeah,
it's not a play that everybody's running.
Yeah.
And nobody. Just as a fan, I'm not even attached to the play.
And then they get into talking about pushing and pulling and that sort of stuff too. And it's to me, it's if you're not pushing or offensive linemen aren't finishing, that's not part of football, right? I know defensive guys don't like it, but part of a offensive line, we've talked about offensive linemen, their confidence in the way they play and where they can finish and they can attack. That's one of those ways they gain confidence in themselves by running off the ball and getting downfield and finishing the play. And so when you talk about not doing that, I personally think you're taking away from a big portion of the game, and again, kind of hindering offensive line play.
Hey, one of the positions that we talk about a lot is tight end, and you got a pretty good one with AJ Barner. I mean, I really liked his rookie year. I thought he did a great job, but it's just kind of weird. They're not the fastest, and I don't know if it's their size or whatever, but just the way that a really good tight end is utilized, I don't know. It's always been kind of mystifying to me because you have a guy that's, I guess, can beat a linebacker as far as his route running.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to put, maybe a more of a skilled coverage guy on him. But yeah, and then if you get one that can block, I mean, it's just kind of an interesting position.
Yeah.
That, when you look at those guys, it's like they don't look like they're that fast, but if you get the right guy, it's kind of interesting.
Coming out of college, I didn't really know, besides the run game, what tight ends did. And so being around when I was interning with the Packers those first 2 years, Andy Reid was a tight ends coach, and he taught me so much about tight end play, passing game, short to middle area of the field and getting your shoulders around and presenting a quick target. And, we had Mark Chmura and Keith Jackson at the time, and they're both, especially Mark, because he was like a calming factor for Brett. Brett was such an intense dude. It took a minute for him to slow down. So he was like, why stick? Just 3 yards, get your shoulder around, just let him dump the ball off, get some completions. Kind of like, all right, just chill out a little bit, bud. Like kind of now how you see a little swing screen, like, okay, let's get the guy to calm down a little bit, the quarterback in a good spot. But yeah, AJ's been great. Noah did a nice job in the run game last year for us, and explosive he is, right? But it was really cool to see AJ's progress, and then Parkinson, Freudian slip.
Yeah,
I love Colby, great guy.
yeah, he is.
Decided to go home, I guess. Jeez,
Yeah.
but
Who wants to go home?
yeah, but and just being like guys like that, being able to have present, and that's what Colby is, right? That 6'6", 6'7", instant target.
Why do you think the tight end, just historically, even before you were part of the organization here, has just never been a big part of the offense in the way that we see it with Kelsey and with Kittle and those guys? When the Seahawks, you guys are doing your 50th anniversary, and we're all voting on the greatest at each position, and fans are voting. Jimmy Graham is the all-time leader in terms of statistics as a tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. Which
I thought that was an awful trade. I thought that was.
That's what
it was bad.
Well, I think that
I was in the impression that was bad, Dave.
well,
no, I don't know. I don't know why that is. I think it's just you're talking about Kelsey and
Kittle,
and
Mark Andrews.
These guys are rare. That's a rare talent. Coach Holmgren, it was very important to Coach Holmgren, obviously, and we had Atula Mealy and they drafted Jeremy Stevens after that. But I think it's just that position. There aren't a lot of guys that are like. It's very clear when they come along. Holy smokes, that guy's was Kyle Brady the second or third player taken in the draft or something? You know what I mean? It's like okay, this guy's a complete difference maker.
Is it that they're so much more talented, or,
yes.
or is it just that they're so much more focused in incorporating the tight end in that offense?
Yeah, our opinion would be that tight end group, whether you have a Y or the U or people call him the F or whatever, like the receiving tight end and the guy, the all around guy is that's not in the guy that can get down the field. That the talent level is not as diversified as you would think. It's not that spread out. These guys are all kind of clumped more together. It's like, okay, what do we want for our offense? Now, there's guys that come around like every year that are, I should say every year. I apologize, but those guys are very special at the position.
What about
but to find that all around guy is very rare.
Yeah. What about fullback? Is that was it half the teams I think have a fullback?
Yeah.
This Scadaboo kid from Arizona State, maybe it looks like he could be a fullback. A lot of times people use defensive linemen or a tight end or whatever. Do you? What do you make of that position kind of going away, or is it making a comeback?
I think it's making a comeback. Two backs. We don't get enough time. In college football or pro football. We've talked about this in the past. So the fundamentals aren't great. So, when you're talking about preparing for a two-back offense, your run fits, that's a lot now. I really just one back, they're preparing for that. So to be able to, when Clint came in, I know Mike was, real fired up about, okay, we're going to have a fullback in our offense. It's actually, a position we're working on right now in free agency as well as the draft, but that's something that we have to address here. But yeah, I mean, it's that guy, has to be a special teams player because now you want three runners. Now you talk about who's active, who's gonna be active. You can't have a fullback that can't move and go play on teams. Yeah, so that's I think it's a really important position. Max Strong was a darn good special teams player. Tony Richardson, I was around in Kansas City for a minute. We moved Corey Hall in Green Bay. He was a MAC defensive player of the decade, Mountain West. Defensive player of the decade is a Mike linebacker. We moved him to fullback because he had really nice hands, and then we knew he was going to be a really good special teams player. Or John Kuhn, a 240-pound runner, kind of moved him like the guys in Denver did for a number of years in the wide zone. So it's gonna be new for us, but we're excited about trying to figure it out.
Did you get any questions about the O-line when you were at the meetings?
I don't need any more questions. I think I just kind of bring it up. I kind of do it on my own. I was taught at a young age to address the elephant in the room right away. So
preemptive strike.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Hey,
Just because you need a car doesn't mean you're gonna buy $100,000 Pinto.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, tell us about what's going on with Ben's Fund.
Yes.
And
Thank
Ben's
you.
room at the stadium and
Yeah.
just kind of what that's all about.
Yeah, we went to. I brought my notes. Cool, thanks, bud.
Sweet.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so we got back late last night, and Ben has our oldest son Ben, he's 23 now, has autism, and Tracy in our group here, started Ben's Fund to help families that can't afford treatments for autism, and his art is up at the Balmer group today, so we ran up there about 1:00 and checked it out. Pretty cool, proud mom and dad to be able to see that stuff all around their offices and everything. Real modern place, real open, and
You
really
did your
cool
office
office
too, right?
Yeah, he did my office wall. Yeah.
the wall.
Yeah. It's cool. Thanks. Yeah. Wow. Good memory.
Yeah.
Not all of us have been allowed in your office,
yeah.
so I don't really know what that looks like.
Well,
But go ahead.
Keep it up over there, Bob.
Yeah,
You'll be all right.
There was a strip search involved.
Was there?
Yeah. We're back having the primetime event. It's real exclusive. We're gonna have it down at the locker room, August 17th.
April 17th.
It's April, which is August is not Autism Awareness Month.
No, it's not.
Guys. It's April.
April comes before August.
Yes, thank you. I apologize.
That's why we have Dave down here.
Thanks, Dave. And so there's 30 tickets left for the public. It's gonna be real fun. A lot of cool stuff going on that night. Pretty intimate deal. There's gonna be I'm not sure if I'm not supposed to say it or not, but there's gonna be some real fun stuff happening. Some cool events and cool items to auction off and everything. It's not like your normal charity event or your like an auction deal, but you can go to primetime2025.eventbrite.com, and the password is John Schneider Show, which always sounds weird to say, but yeah. So thanks for bringing it up. But yeah, Tracy has raised over about $6 million now since we started this for families that can't afford treatments. It's pretty awesome. I'm very proud of her and the ladies and everybody in the building that helps here really spread the word. And so appreciate you guys putting on your show and everything.
Yeah. Give us before we let you get out of here. Give us the website one more time. You said there's 30 tickets left. I know you got to put the specs back on, but this will be worth it.
Yeah, I think she said there's about 30 tickets. It's primetime 2025.eventbrite.com, and the password is John Schneider Show. And,
there you go. 30 tickets left.
Yeah,
Snap them up.
So it's gonna be fun in the locker room. Eric Kennedy allowed us to have a dinner in the locker room. It's like hollow ground in there, right? So we're like, okay, thanks, EK, appreciate it, man.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we're excited about it, so appreciate it.
Well, John, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Welcome back. Enjoy the rest of your green drink there.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again next week.
Check the box. How many we got left?
Just 3?
3 more?
Sweet.
3 more.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean, it's good. I enjoy it.
Getting nervous.
Love the time together. It's cool.
Can't wait till you tell us who you're going to draft and everything.
Be fantastic.
Can't wait for you to unveil your entire draft to us.
We always get texts from people that they're pissed at us because, why didn't you ask him who he's going to draft? And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's going to tell us that.
It's just, yeah, we can do that if you guys want. We can, maybe it'll be a autism, auction item.
Yeah, there you go. John Schneider.
You'll get the
inside scoop.
Yeah.
That's
It'll be in a card, and you can just stick
John
it in there.
Schneider's mock draft.
This is who it was. What was the movie? Draft Day. He put it in the card.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah. Is that your favorite NFL movie, by the way? Or
It is
football
not,
movie?
but that'd be pretty cool to make love to your salary cap analyst. And what else did he do that day? It
was a busy
It was
day.
a busy
Yeah,
day
he
for
did a
this
lot of
gentleman. He
stuff.
traded
You're
away
right.
picks and then got him back.
Were they going to put his dad's ashes on the practice
Yeah,
field,
his
too?
dad had passed, too.
There was a lot happening.
It was a
that
rough day there.
Yeah, a lot of
but,
traffic. All right, John,
yeah.
we appreciate you, man.
And the GM for the Seahawks was a really handsome, established older gentleman. I'm
Oh,
like,
you were in that movie?
no, I was
No,
not.
somebody
That
was
looks
playing
nothing
him.
like me.
Somebody was playing him.
I said distinguished, older looking, Dave. All right, fellas.
Thanks, man.